Okay, I have noon. So, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the August monthly Construction and Traffic Impacts webinar. We truly appreciate you taking the time to join us today. I'm Wendy Thompson from the Streetcar team. My primary role is to keep you well informed about the Streetcar project, especially any changes that might affect your daily commute or neighborhood. Please don't hesitate to contact me with any of your questions or concerns you might have. We know that construction can impact your daily routine, and our goal today is to proactively provide clear and timely information. We're here to walk you through the latest developments, and we encourage you to ask questions at any point using the Q&A feature. I'd like to introduce you to the team who will be sharing updates on construction and what to expect in the coming months. We have Eric Miller, Omaha Streetcar Operations Manager, Megan Walter, MUD Customer Engagement Manager, Mike True, Omaha Public Works Department and the Streetcar Project Manager, and Steve Rue, Omaha Public Works Department Capital Construction and Street Maintenance Engineer. Now I'd like to turn it over to Eric Miller.
Thanks, Wendy. Appreciate that intro, and just want to go through the agenda for today. So we're going to first start off with our work zone safety reminders, and then go get an overview of the schedule, what's the latest for that. We'll talk about the MUD gas relocation work. Then we'll go into what's the latest on the vehicle maintenance facility, which is going up, and then talk about the utilities on the west side of 480 called the West Utility Package, give an update on the I-480 bridges, and then we'll go to the east side of the utilities, so the East Utility Package, and then talk about the upcoming Turner Boulevard Utility Package. And then we'll go into our latest on the business support, and we'll talk about construction communications, and then we'll go into your questions and answers after that. And feel free to add any questions and answers in the chat as we go through this. And so just some basic updates on safety zones. Make sure you stay alert, follow the detours. As you're going out through the corridor, there may have been some storms that might impact where the traffic cones are and that. So just make sure that you're watching out for what the road is. It may have changed. Make sure you stay out of anything that looks like a work zone or where there's signs that telling you not to go there. And then make sure you plan ahead for your travels through the corridor, and might exercise a little bit of patience while you're out there. So our overall schedule, looking at, as we've previously mentioned, the Mecca Lot A utilities have been complete. That was work mostly done for the vehicle maintenance facility. And we're going into our utilities package and interstate bridge construction. Vehicle maintenance facility is going up. Mike's got some more information on that for you. And then talking about what's coming up with the Turner Boulevard improvements. And then to look forward to next year is going to be the streetcar mainline construction. We'll actually see tracks going into the ground. So, and all this is overlapping with the ongoing MUD and OPPD communications and fiber utility relocation work. So a lot going on out there to get ready for the streetcar. All right, so now I will turn it over to Megan, and she'll be able to discuss the MUD gas relocation work in a little more detail.
Hi, everyone. So our first slide is our phase 6 in the old market. Our crew continues installing new gas main along the south side of Harney Street near 15th and will proceed westward towards 16th Street. When construction reaches 16th Street, which is anticipated within the next 2 weeks, it will be necessary to close 16th Street south of Harney for approximately 1 month due to the scope of work required in that area. New gas main installation has already begun and been completed from 10th to 14th Streets. However, work is ongoing in select areas along this stretch to install new individual gas services and connect them to the newly installed main. This phase includes additional excavations along the route. MUD continues to work with customers to relocate inside gas meters to the exterior of buildings for safety reasons. This phase's anticipated completion is mid-September. Our next slide is a slide about phase 5 on Farnham. So MUD has a second crew currently working in Farnham at 26th Avenue. This portion of the project is scheduled to be completed by the end of this week, and then street repair will be turned over to the city. Once work is finished in this location, the crew will move to Harney Street at 28th Street to begin the next phase of the project. MUD will continue to in select areas, primarily in intersections, within phases 5 and 7 to stay ahead of the city's future planned utility work. As shown on this slide, areas shaded in gray represent work completed. Red areas indicate current or soon-to-be active zones, and the work remaining in Phase 7 and Phase 8 are planned for this year. For safety reasons, pedestrians should use caution where holes have been dug, and vehicles should slow down in construction areas. Thank you.
So next up is the vehicle maintenance facility. You can see two pictures down here fairly recently. The one on your left is for a vapor mitigation system, and the one on the right kind of gives you a better overall view. All those little nubs sticking up are the driven piles for the overall foundation. Those are all installed, cut, filled, good to go. You can see some of the rock being laid out there as well for just overall site drainage and infill. The mat slab foundation that's going to be created for this, they're going to start pouring that here in, I believe, Monday of next week. It's going to be built over multiple pours. It's an encapsulated slab, and as you drive by, you'll continue to see that going up. Maintenance facility is planned on being finished in early 2026, or sorry, late 2026 to early 2027, and is proceeding right along. And that's about where we're at now. And next, I'll turn that over. I believe it goes next. Yep, Mr. Rue.
There we go. Thanks, Mike. So we're gonna recap kind of where we're at with West Utilities package first here. So as shown on this slide here, phase 1 is complete. So from Turner to 33rd Street, essentially, we've seen all those barricades move to the west. The contractor's out of there. So that's fantastic. Right now, you can see the active construction zone with the dash line there. That's phase 2. So that's where we're at now. We're working from the end of phase 1 there, almost all the way to the very edge of that Blackstone district. And then as we approach the last third of the year, we're going to move into phase 3 there, which will be that last district. So our next slide here, we'll kind of just recap some of our traffic patterns as we go through phase 1. So phase 1's done. So we are back to two-way traffic. All the parking's been restored through there. So if you're going down into Midtown, if you're going through those areas, you have east-west traffic. We have the turn lane restored. All those parking trays are open. I will say, following the work that's been done here, street maintenance needs to move in. Obviously, with the construction going on, it was a little difficult for us to do all of our typical repairs. So we do have a little bit of work to do in the curb line. That'll occur in the next week or so. That should all be very short, extremely minimal impact to any kind of traffic patterns or anything. But if you see a few cones or barrels show up, we're just trying to take care of some things we couldn't do during construction. So you might see a few brief instances of that through there, but really that work should be done until the next package starts. As we go to the next slide here, we're going to talk about phase 2. So again, continuation of a lot of what we saw in phase 1. We're doing the sewer main work, water main work, and the duct bank work that's been going on through here. So very much like what happened in phase 1, we've moved to phase 2. So we are westbound only through here still again. We're showing some optional detours through here. I think obviously if you're trying to go eastbound, the easiest thing to do is use Harney. Harney is also your best access if you're trying to get to parts of 36th Street. We still have some northbound only sections of 36 just south of Farnham there. So if you're trying to get to the Cottonwood or over in that area for some other reason, you'd want to take Harney back to the east, and then you can use the two-way traffic on the south end of 36 there. It's kind of shown by those white arrows. As we move through the project, just be alert for other temporary traffic control changes, just like we did in phase 1. There will be some lane shifting. There will be signs out in the event that we have to shut something down or we have to restrict a turn somewhere. So just, as Eric mentioned at the beginning, just use caution, use patience, read the signs as you go through. parking through this area. There's no parking through this area right now, so we can use those parking garages to the east. We're still doing the 2 hours of free parking, so those 2 big garages in Midtown are available, and then we have the parking garage between 37th and 38th Street that's available, so we can park there and walk and access these businesses here. Looking forward into phase 3, which as we approach the end of the year, we're going to move into it. There is some work occurring right now on 38th Street, just west on Farnham, just west of 38th Street. So you're going to see some work occurring through there right now as Hawkins is continuing to progress through this project. The remainder of most of this work is going to get picked up when we get into phase 3. As we get into phase 3, remember that we do have this additional lot that was constructed on 40th and Harney that can handle about 23 spaces. We still have the parking garage, like I just mentioned, on 37th and 38th with the 2 hours free. I think there's like 3,000 spots in there. So you can still utilize that to get through. And as we move into phase 3, you're going to lose a lot of that on-street parking through here. So just if you patronize this area, if you're in that area, we can use these parking facilities or just start being conscious of other places you might want to park. Moving on to the bridge project. If you happen to drive by the bridge project, they poured the deck over the weekend, which is fantastic. That's always a huge accomplishment for any bridge project. The deck pour went great, really no issues. So it really looks like a bridge. I think I keep saying that every month, but if you drive by now, it actually looks like a bridge. There's still a good amount of work to be done. They still need to go in and do guardrails and some of the other work through that area. Other upcoming work not related to the bridge itself includes there's some pavement work at 29th and Harney that is occurring right now. That is anticipated to open August 15th. That intersection will open August 15th. On the other side of the bridge at 28th, there is work that's anticipated to start August 11th. So those two will slightly overlap there, but we're still seeing a pretty good, by the coordination of all the work that we have here, we're seeing these closures were anticipated to be much longer, and we're seeing maybe like a 3 or 4 week savings on the duration of the closure through these areas. So really good work that's happening here. This project's going really well. Everything's ahead of schedule as it stands right now, so that's great. So other work through here that needs to be complete outside of the obvious work remaining with the bridge, OPPD work, there's some lumen work through here, and then just some other work in these intersections around the bridge. Here we're showing some of the optional detours that you could take for the closures that we have here. So obviously you cannot access 480 from Harney Street right now. I would suggest, all these detours are awesome. I would just strongly suggest that anybody that's trying to get around, I think this is what most people do anyways. If you use the app on your phone, that will take you to the correct place. We do a very good job of making regular updates to Google Maps, Apple Maps. We're trialing out some new softwares right now to actually have like live lane closures and stuff updated into these apps. So in the event that we have to close a lane for a couple hours, we should have the ability to communicate that back and forth. So you can use these detours. I like to use Dodge if I'm trying to get on 480. I know other people are using Leavenworth to get downtown. I would just suggest that you use those map features that most people probably have on their phone and help just facilitate as we change traffic control through here. The East package. I guess this would be my first week talking about the East package. I can take it, Mike, because it is active now.
Okay, if you want to talk about it, go for it.
You work so hard, Mike. It's cool. I can take this for you. So the East package has started. This started on Monday. So this East package is a larger version of that West Utilities package that we saw that is occurring right now west of Turner. So this is the East package. This is east of Turner. So Mike's kind of covered the basics of this the last couple months, but again, this is a big sanitary and utility project that's going on through here. Started on Monday in what we're calling the Loop, which is the area kind of around 10th and Capitol, this little square that the dash line makes there. So contractor started over there. Now we're going to see more crews in the coming weeks get added to different zones through here. We're coordinating with MED and OPPD to facilitate this work as we kind of work our way in what's going to eventually be a very large circle from 28th to 8th, Farnham to Harney. So we're going to be looking for lane closures for electrical work beginning August 15th. That's designated by the red line there. water main work beginning August 4th. So that was Monday. So if you've been in that area, you've probably seen that the road is closed there. We have ample signage there, hopefully, to communicate everything that's there. I know traffic control is a big deal there, so everybody should be aware that that's closed now. And then we're just kind of showing some other work that we're anticipating in the coming weeks. So water main work to begin in early September on Farnham, and electrical work beginning in August on Harney from 20th to 18th. And so I'm sure when we get to September, we'll talk more about that. No, you're good. You're good, Wendy. So the East Utilities package, again, just to kind of highlight where they're actively working right now. 10th and Capitol area, what we're calling the loop, which is really more of a square. So the closure began Monday, and we're looking at water main work and sewer work to be completed by August 28th in this intersection. So you can kind of see where those road closures are. So if you're down in this area, and you've been there since Monday, you are aware of it. If you're going down there, these are closed. We will have signage again, and you can just utilize those apps if you need to get around this area. Mike, I'll give you this one though. It's not active construction.
Awesome. Thank you, Steve. This is our Turner Boulevard package. It's slated to begin Q4, maybe late Q3, call it late September, early October. The bids will actually come in on August 20th. Big thing is at the Farnham and Turner intersection, you can kind of see it here. There's a little bit of a diamond pork chop that's in the road itself. In and around that area you'll see a manhole lid that expands out to a very deep sewer, roughly 40 feet deep. We anticipate we're gonna have to dig down, and this is also again where Turner Creek used to be. So we got large sewers, several combined. It's a combined system with several large other pipes coming into that one. It's going to be shutting down that intersection starting in January, running through April. The design is complete, and there's another large sewer down in the Harney area where we have to reconstruct another manhole there. The pipes in and along there, the intent is to do what we call a pipe and pipe, or a class 4 structural liner, where we'll have a liner that goes in and actually supports and just acts like the new pipe holding up what used to be there. This is slated to have substantial completion by fall of 2026. Obviously, if you're coming into this area, we're going to have some shutdowns, but also remember, you can just see it there on the right edge of your screen. You can see the Harney and Farnham bridges. Harney's supposed to be wrapped up by the end of this year, and Farnham starting next year. So when that Farnham and Turner closure goes, you're also going to be having that bridge go. So we will be posting, and with the next either September or definitely by October, we're going to have some more routing and understanding of how that's going to happen. But just to give everyone some awareness of what's coming down the pipe, no pun intended, going westbound on Farnham is going to get a little bit more difficult, particularly next year. And that's where this particular one's at. And we'll hand it over to Eric for business support.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. So as many of you are aware, there's a lot of ongoing things that we're working on to try to draw your attention to the businesses and to help them out during this time. And so, as we understand that, there are some difficulties that come with construction. And so these are some of the things that we're continuing to work on. So first of all, overall communications on the OSA website, which is omahastreetcar.org. You can find information on construction updates, interactive map that shows up-to-date information by area, and then also the frequently asked questions. And I want to draw attention that these webinars are also available on YouTube later, so you can look at them. We also have our weekly construction update email newsletters. Definitely contact Wendy if you're not on those. And then we have these monthly webinars. We try to help draw out the big items that have been going on and are coming up. And again, just I want to mention that you contact Wendy for information and more specific things. And as far as accessibility and construction zones, we are working to make sure that we maintain one-way westbound traffic on Farnham so that you can still get to where you need to go along the corridor. And what's very important is also maintaining that sidewalk access to the businesses. And then, of course, having a delivery access and coordination so that the businesses get their deliveries. And outside of construction zones, we're looking at maintaining that two-way traffic at all times, having the directional traffic signage that you see out there to make sure you know where it's safe to go, and also pedestrian directional signs along the routes, because there are some tricky spots where it's hard to have pedestrian access depending on what's going on. And as far as parking, I know Steve mentioned a little bit of this, but there's a lot of off-street parking available, and we're even looking at still some on-street parking where we can have it. And we're adding parking directional signage and trying to have that unobstructed on-street parking outside of construction zones. So having it be pretty much similar to usual. And in addition to that, the city's parking division is continuing to work on their parking partners program to open the area for parking for nights and weekend use when there's not construction out there. So trying to draw attention to that. And then also, as Steve mentioned, we've got the temporary parking lot on the northeast corner of 40th and Harney for use throughout the construction period. And then the special first 2 hours of free parking in the new Blackstone parking garage. And just as far as business promotion, we've added business advertising and support signage that you'll see along the corridor and at businesses, just to draw the support that, mentions that all these businesses are still open. And wayfinding signage throughout the corridor, banners in those storefront windows. And we also try to draw up business information in our newsletters and information. And as you know, that we had our first movie night on June 20th, and we've got the second one was supposed to be on July 11th. And now that had to be rescheduled, and is now going to be on Saturday, August 23rd. So hope to join us for that one. And then I'll just mention that we're getting close to working out a deal with the Chamber of Commerce for Business Support Loan Fund Initiative. And so that one's getting really close to rolling out, hopefully later this month. So we'll have more information upcoming. And so now I'll turn it back over to Wendy, and she can talk a little bit more about communications.
Thank you, Eric. For those of you new to our webinar series, we host these monthly on the first Wednesday of every month at noon. We know schedules can be tricky, so if you can't join us live, don't worry. We record each session and post it on our website for you to watch whenever it's convenient, as Eric mentioned. Please note you will need to register for each session to receive the new unique monthly link. If you've registered for this or any past webinars, we'll send you an email reminder before the next one so you don't miss out on signing up. We highly encourage you to register even if you can't attend live, and please submit any construction and traffic questions beforehand. That way we can address them during the webinar, ensuring you get the information you need when you watch the recording later. Looking ahead to next month, we'll detail all the planned work again, schedules, and how it will impact the project as construction moves forward. We understand construction can be disruptive, and we're committed to minimizing impacts and keeping you informed. To do that, we've developed some key resources. First, a weekly email update for you to get summaries of work, project progress, and milestones directly in your inbox. Please sign up on our website. Second, we've created an interactive GIS map to allow you to zoom in on your area to see specific project impacts. This map is frequently updated with the latest, most accurate information. We encourage you to share these valuable resources with your neighbors, colleagues, and anyone interested in the project's progress. Our team is here to ensure everyone has information they need to understand and navigate these changes. Please leverage our resources, reach out with your questions, and stay connected as the project moves forward. Finally, if you have immediate concerns or would like more information from the project team, please contact me by phone or email. Now, let's begin the Q&A session with questions that were sent in, but we haven't answered yet as we went through our presentation. Please continue to add questions about construction and traffic impacts to the Q&A box. So one thing that I needed to correct, the garage on 38th and Harney, it was sent to me that there's 385 parking spots there. So I'm not sure where the discrepancy in number was, but I just wanted to get that corrected really quick before we start.
I was probably just wrong. That's okay.
I wasn't going to call you out.
I appreciate that. No, yeah. It looks huge. It looks huge.
It does look huge.
Okay.
Okay. Um, okay, so Mike, how many people does each streetcar hold and what's the average wait time?
Average wait time and heading is intended to be um, about 12-minute headings, plus or minus a few minutes, call it 10 to 15 minutes. There's some variance depending on obviously weather, traffic load, and whatnot. I don't have the exact number in front of me of what those were, each individual one that we ordered, but they're going to hold. Give me a second and I'll see if I can quick look that up.
Well, while he's looking that up, somebody else asked a question about the contracts that have been let today and the contractors responsible. And we have that information at the linked at the bottom of the construction updates page of the website. That's omahastreetcar.org. So if you go to the construction updates page, you can get an answer to what has been let so far, as well as the contractors responsible.
So the kind of giving that as a broad answer, there's a potential that these streetcars could hold up to 140 people. There's a level boarding area, and so that number depends upon, do you have people with strollers? Do you have people with bikes? We'd expect most stops average. It's looking like probably you're going to see day to day, maybe closer to 30. You might see right on them at one time. We don't necessarily expect it to be a full load for every trip, if that helps.
Thank you. Steve, someone sent in a question about the Capitol Avenue laydown space. And given that there's already construction in the area, how will the streetcar team plan to ensure good pedestrian access around that 1400 Douglas area and safety around the transportation of construction materials in and out?
Yep. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that question was sent in by Union Pacific. I know they have a pretty strong safety culture, even around their headquarters. So as far as the city goes and our projects, we have our own sidewalk closure policies. Every closure, whether it's a street or really anything else related to these projects, goes through our traffic division for review. We accept the temporary traffic control plans. We're reviewing those for both ADA compliance and then just general pedestrian access, right? So we're making sure that people can get around, that it's safe. We're obviously not directing people into work zones. I think through this part of the projects, like if you had gone through Utilities West where we were maintaining those open sidewalks up against those businesses, you would see, we did a very good job of utilizing fencing, barricades, etc., to keep a good division of pedestrians to the sidewalk, construction out in the construction area. We had a lot of signage, and you'll see signage as we go through Utilities East, directing people where sidewalks are closed, where we can cross. I know we have covered in the webinars all of that same information, which intersections, if they were to be closed for crossing, that you would need to bypass to cross the street somewhere else. So we will continue to do all those things that we do internally for every single project, not just related to the streetcar, but any project that we do. And then obviously the communication through the webinar, and Wendy and yourself and the other people that reach out for streetcar, making sure that everybody's aware of things as they change. And I would say, with Hawkins taking on that project, they have a really incredible safety culture for all the projects that they do. And, that's a really high priority for them. So I would be confident that it will be set up safely for pedestrians to access.
Thank you. Our next question was about how we're going to modernize the streetcar corridor as part. So adopting practices that would help increase business, walkability, growth, tourism, and more. Mike, do you want to cover that one?
Yeah. So the short answer on that is, if I remember correctly, this one talks about how a lot of European cities tend to have goals of walkability and whatnot. We are trying to have a more transit-oriented outlook here in Omaha. Keep Omaha Moving is going to be posting something about that. Transportation improvements, they've got goals from 2025 to 2030, and we can probably push that out with our next letter or next communication that goes out. So we do have after the streetcar comes through, there's a new bike lane. We are assessing where we can have better pedestrian access, safer crossings, do things to encourage more multimodal forms of transportation within the city. We will continue to look at that. I mean, that's partly why we're doing a streetcar. And you know, as we continue to move forward, this project, extensions, we'll continue to work with the public and head towards that goal.
Thank you, Mike. And I see that a link has been put into the chat for that website, the keepomahamoving.com/projects/active transportation improvements 2025 to 2030. So if anyone would like that link, I can get that sent out to you as well. Our next question, so they asked about Metro Transit and the way to get announcements about bus stop routes changing. They said that it was not on the MyRide app. So I think it's a great suggestion to possibly add Metro to our webinar here in the future. So I have reached out to them to see if that would be a possibility. But in the meantime, they did share that short-term quick closure detours are shared in the MyRide news section. They encourage people to sign up for the push alerts to receive immediate notification when they post those alerts. Longer term detours will be reflected in the map section of MyRide. Unfortunately, their trip planner is not able to consider temporary, even if they're lengthy detours as part of the trip suggestions. So that was their response directly. So our next question is, has the City of Omaha finalized the work elements with MUD to be included in order to maintain the streetcar schedule?
We've had some meetings with MUD to incorporate what elements need to be in this final bid of Turner. We have MUD elements in all of our contracts up to this point. There are still a few minor things for instance, reworking the location of a fire hydrant that has to get shifted because that happens during construction. And so that may have to add some pipe or something else as it moves here about 6 to 8 feet. Generally speaking, the elements are in there, and we'll continue to adjust as we do on any construction project.
Thank you. So here's a question that got sent in. It was about the closure of 10th north of Capitol, and they're saying that it's not represented in Apple Google Maps, and so it's causing a lot of unexpected eastbound traffic on Capitol towards H Street, which is also closed. So that data needs to be updated if it's not already.
Yep. So I see the closure of 10th on mine, but I've reached out to our GIS person that tags these in to make sure that that's being pushed out, I guess, to all platforms. I guess the other thing that we're going to go do right now, Kevin's going to go out and look, is make sure that the closure that's represented on the map is accurate. Sorry, that's my GIS guy responding back. That the closure that's being represented on the map is accurate to what's actually closed, but like I see that it's on there, so I have some confidence that we are keeping up to date with that. So I'll make sure that at least what is being represented is exactly accurate to what's out there. I think they had a follow-up question regarding signage out there yesterday. As of yesterday. So we opened up, we did the traffic control, and so we do all traffic control to MUTCD standards, right? So the national standard on how traffic control is set out. Obviously, there's some situations that, for whatever reason, require additional control. So after Monday and seeing how traffic patterns went, we did go out and readjust some of the traffic control, add some additional barricades and signs and closures. We'll say from experience that putting out message boards is not always the most effective solution to everything, but hopefully people are reading them. So we have a great deal of signage and barricading out there. We are monitoring traffic. So we're 3 days into this. We are monitoring traffic patterns to make sure that we're not creating situations where people are being forced to U-turn or are missing the dead end or missing the road closed ahead signs or things like that. So I do think what's out there right now is much more than what is required. And I think it should be enough. If additional traffic control is needed, we have staff that's on site all day that's supposed to be evaluating that and taking care of that. So if we need to continue to add signs and barricades or whatever to get down to what we consider to be reasonable, then that is what we will continue to do.
Yeah, so I see that the person that answered that question had a follow-up in our chat. So we can definitely double check it, but the closure has been modified since it first went up, and they're continuing to monitor it.
Yeah, and I know when we were doing utility work on that exact same stretch, not we, but when utilities were doing work on that same stretch before the project, kind of the way that intersection comes together and the way people look to just naturally leave, it is a little counterintuitive. Hence the additional signing and barricading that we attempted initially and are continuing to do. So we'll just keep adjusting until we can kind of communicate to the traveling public as appropriate.
Thank you. The next question asked about renderings of the vehicle support building. So I am pasting a link to the website where those have been uploaded. So if you go to our website, you can find those at that link. Our final question, unless any more come in, is will any street work be done west of 39th Street, i.e. all the way down to 40th during the upcoming construction, or will it terminate at 39th Street? So I think they're talking about the West Utilities package.
The West Utilities package is generally going to be terminating around there. As far as if any of the utilities that are outside of that, if there's any additional comms work or anything else linking up, they may have to change it to another handhold box connection point. The other thing that's going on here is UNMC that butts up to essentially 40th Street also has a project going on. You probably see the water barricades go up. So our construction is essentially going to end up abutting another construction that continues on out to approximately 42nd Street. So if you feel free to contact us as normal and we'll get you in touch if it's not us that's necessarily causing the impact. Generally speaking, yes, our work will stop there, but you may see work in the immediacy beyond it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for all of the great questions. For questions we were not able to address on this call, I'll contact you at the registration email address you provided when you signed up. That wraps up our session today. Thank you all for joining us. Your engagement and understanding are vital as we continue to build this transformative project for Omaha. We're excited about the progress we're making and the positive impact the Omaha Streetcar will have on our community for generations to come. We look forward to seeing you at next month's webinar. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you all for your time.
Thanks, everyone.